little bit of information about Solari Energy. We've been in business for over 25 years. We have been installing solar since 2009. We got pretty heavily involved in energy storage back in about 2015. A lot of our customers are deciding that that is a good add-on to their system so they can protect themselves from blackouts and some of the different time of use rates that we see coming in the future. So I'm just here to answer any questions that you guys have as soon as everybody kind of gets in the room. I'm Dustin Merkley with Solari Energy. I've been with Solari Energy since 2012 and the solar industry since 2009. This is my first Facebook Live, so we're all learning on the fly here. Hopefully this can be a good little bridge the gap during COVID while we're starting to continue to, quote remotely, so we can hopefully answer any questions that you guys have as quick as possible. Got one like, okay, there you go. See if I get any questions here as more people come online. Should I fill the space with that?
Yeah. So,
oh, here we go. A customer asked, do I need solar batteries, solar battery with solar panels to save the most money? Currently today, a solar system is the first thing that you should add to offset your SDG&E bill. A battery can be integrated into your existing or new PV system for two reasons, either to have backup power and energy independence, but also to provide some rate arbitrage to offset some of the time of use rates that were all being affected in the 4 till 9 window. Where are your panels made? Typically, our panels are typically coming from the big name brands like Panasonic and LG. Over the years, there's been a lot of different players get into the solar industry. Typically, the larger panel manufacturers that are more robust and diversified into a number of different things tend to be more solvent and stable long term. So we've tended to go with the larger players like Panasonic and LG. Typically for inverters, nobody asked this question yet, but most homes are using a module level inverter so that you have either Enphase or SolarEdge. This can maximize the performance of a system in any situation, but specifically on more complex roofs where you have shading or other things that might affect the solar system's performance. Oh, okay, here we go. So how much money will your solar save me? So typically when we try to design a solar system, the intent is to offset 100% of your bill. That is going to be a function of how many solar panels we can fit on your roof, what your current electrical bill is, and then we just design the right system to tailor fit to suit your needs. What kind of battery is the best, I'm asked. So typically we want to look at your energy profile in your home. That's going to determine what is the best system to suit your needs. Most of the time, Tesla has a pretty robust battery that comes at a very economical price. Most of our customers end up going with Tesla, but there is a site-specific battery for every home. How many batteries do I need? Most homes would get by with a single Tesla battery. For homes with larger loads, they might require additional batteries depending on their level of backup they require. How will it work with my solar and SDG&E bill? So solar systems today are designed to work with the SDG&E and the power grid. They act as a battery to store your energy via net metering. Net metering gives you full retail credit for your energy to be used at a later date. The battery is something you can add in addition to the grid to be able to make sure your solar system stays on when the grid goes down. What is better, optimizers or microinverters? Both optimizers and microinverters are module level performance electronics. They make your system perform better in more challenging conditions. Depending on each home, it might dictate using one or another if it's going to match price and efficiency. I have a tile roof. Do you do about damage you caused during installation? So Solari Energy has a 25-year warranty against our craftsmanship. So all work that we do, it has a 25-year backed for craftsmanship and labor. What if I don't have a south-facing roof? So if you don't have a south-facing roof, almost any side of the home, we can find a system that will suit your needs. Typically, south-facing is ideal and would require less solar panels. But if you're going to go east, west, even north in some circumstances, depending on the size of your bill, there's a solar system that can be designed to suit your needs. Tax credits currently just got extended again for 26% at 26% for a few more years before they expire. That also is available for both solar systems and batteries. There also are some state incentives to help offset the battery costs at this time. Let's see if we get a few more questions here. I run my AC a lot during the summer. Will that affect my bill? So typically customers who have higher energy load profiles, solar is going to be best suited for them since you are affected with higher costs of energy. Solar systems are just going to have a better return on investment in that case. So regardless of how much energy you use, whether you have a $100 bill or a $500 bill, average or monthly, we're going to be able to design a system to meet your annual needs. And you'll see obviously a better return on investment if you're using quite a bit of electricity. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about how we would first design a system to suit your guys' needs. And we'll backtrack a little. So typically what we would do is we're going to get either a recent SDG&E bill or a more in-depth look is downloading your 15-minute interval data. We'll take that that usage information, and we will see what is your total monthly and annual kilowatt hour consumption. Then we're going to take a look at your roof. We're going to trace it out in a CAD program and see what type of panels we can fit and how many in each specific direction. That's going to allow us to see which panel best suits your home. Certain times we might be limited to a small amount of roof space. Sometimes on two-story homes is pretty common. In that case, we might opt for a more high-efficient panel and an optimizer to best design a system to suit your needs. This also can be why we choose to go with a battery system for some homes, not just to provide backup power, but also to offset some of those peak windows when you're consuming a lot of energy, like after work between 4 and 9. Do I have solar installed on my roof? No. So solar systems can be installed on your roof. They can also be installed on the ground. For commercial systems, they can be installed in carports. It's not particularly what we're talking about today, but typically on the roof or on the ground is where most homeowners are installing their systems. Ground-mounted systems are nice because they can provide perfect direction in relationship to the sun. but there's some additional cost in regards to building a structure where your home already has a nice place for us to install those panels. Oh, so I get a question of how long are the warranties? So typically, you're going to have a 25-year warranty on your solar panels. Then from the larger manufacturers like LG and Panasonic, they have a very strict performance guarantee. Some of the latest panels in the industry will only lose 7.5% of their year one power output over the 25-year life of their equipment. And microinverters from Enphase and some of the products from SolarEdge have 12 to 25 years, and they can all be extended out to 25-year periods to match your panel warranty. Solari comes standard with a 25-year warranty to service the system as long as it's under a manufacturer's warranty. So as long as your system is on your roof and under warranty, we're going to be the ones that you'd call if there ever is any issues with it. Typically, solar systems have almost little to no maintenance issues, so it's typically put the system in and then just track your performance to make sure that you're not continuing to use more energy. Got a few more questions here. If I'm planning to get an electric car in the future, should I get more panels now? So typically we would want to see what type of car you're getting, what is going to be your expected mileage that you're going to drive, and then when in the future are you going to be adding solar panels. If it's going to be here in the near future, next year or so, most people would opt to do it now, just so they can design the system so that when they do get the car, they're all ready to go. That can be a range of different amounts of panels, just depending on what your driving needs are going to be. We also can install an EV plug to make sure that you can start charging your car at rapid speeds. How long does it take to get solar installed? Can I get next week, or is it a long process? So designing a solar system, we can typically get done pretty quickly for you once we get your SDG&E bill or interval data. Our current lead time with Solari is 4 to 8 weeks from a signed contract. That allows us to get the city permits, whether you're city or county, a different jurisdiction. We also can do HOA applications in that time period. And then for the installation itself, typically a regular solar installation is about 1 to 3 days, just based on the complexity of the ground or the roof that we're installing on. The cost per kilowatt meaning, that's a term that came out quite a few years ago. It's a good way of looking at it from one company to the next. It's just based on what is the DC system size, or if you have a panel that is 360 watts and there's 10 panels, that is a 3.6 kilowatt system. And then you divide that cost by the total system price, and you'll get your cost per watt. That's just a good way to compare one company to the next, because there's such a range of different size panels, et cetera. So you can make sure whether they have 20 panels or 15, if they're still the same kilowatt size, you can compare one system to another more easily. See if we get a few more questions here. What does DC mean? So DC is direct current. So your solar panels make direct current. They run to a inverter, which is going to change it from direct current to alternating current. That can be an Enphase product like a microinverter. It can be an older string inverter. It can be a DC optimized system from SolarEdge. There's many different types of inverters. They all function slightly differently, but create the same result. So solar panels make DC or battery power, and then the inverter changes it over to alternating current, which is what your home runs on. A solar system will first power all your homes live at Curl. They'll first power your home, and then all the excess energy will be backfed to the grid. Why doesn't my solar work when the power is out? So solar systems in California have something called anti-islanding, which means when the grid goes down, the solar system has to shut itself off. This is to protect the community and both line workers in case there's being power fed to a grid where a line has gone down. This is where battery systems come into play. Since solar systems are grid dependent, having a battery system installed with your PV system allows you to get around this needing to shut down when the grid goes down. So you create a microgrid where your battery is then run from the Tesla Powerwall or another storage system, and then your solar system can stay operational. Can I get solar that isn't grid dependent? Yes, you can have an off-grid solar system, if that's what you're asking, or a system that's not grid dependent. So solar systems with energy storage are not grid dependent. They're typically not off-grid in most circumstances. Almost everyone has an electrical meter on their home, unless you're at a very far part of the county. But a solar system with energy storage is no longer grid dependent. The solar system then runs when the grid is down, and the battery then offsets the energy that you need at night. How do I know if my panels are working correctly? So all solar systems today come with some sort of monitoring, whether it's an older central inverter, which has just the whole system as a whole, or today where you have panel level monitoring. So you can see not only what the entire system is doing on a day-to-day or hourly or annual basis, you can also see what each panel is doing. This can be an indication to let you know that maybe there's some trees on your home that need to get trimmed, but just keeping track of what your system is doing as a whole. Do we monitor them? So we have the access to monitor your system. Customers themselves are the ones who are going to do their day-to-day monitoring, but we do get notified if something goes on with your system as well, and then we can always look into it further once you guys let us know. What are the benefits of adding a battery? So the benefits of adding a battery is that you're just more energy independent is first and foremost. Right now with solar systems being grid dependent, you have to have the grid up to take advantage of this nice investment that you put on your home. Obviously, people want first the savings, but then with some of the rolling blackouts and the high wind advisories that are now coming to more of the eastern part of the corridor of San Diego, having that energy independence has really been a driving factor for some people. From a financial return on investment standpoint, it's more of an insurance policy against rate inflation and some of the different time of use rates that we see today. But that's the major benefit of a battery that we're seeing. Is regular maintenance needed for a solar system? No, typically it's a install it and relatively forget about it. Besides monitoring your system, they have zero to no maintenance typically required. Solar panels have no moving parts or pieces, so they are a pretty robust system that just works day in and day out. If my bill is under $100 a month, is solar still a good option for me? So when we look at your system, we'll just want to look at both your energy usage, but also what billing rate you are on, and then we can design a system to fit most people's needs. It's just how quickly is it going to have a return on investment, whether it's on a purchase basis or on a finance basis. Typically, we can design a system to suit almost anyone's needs. Do I have to have someone clean my panels? So typically cleaning of solar panels is not needed unless in a very rare situation, maybe after wildfires and things like that. But panels that are tilted on a roof will just get cleaned off during the winter time when it rains. During the summer months, they'll get a little bit of dust on them, but that is factored into the equation of output for your area around San Diego County. Oh, okay. I'm going to reintroduce myself again in case anybody else came into the chat here. I'm Dustin Merkley with Solari Energy. I've been in the business since 2000, since the mid 2000 or 2010 era, and been with Solari Energy since 2012. Solari's been in business for 25 years, and we've been installing solar panels since 2009. Currently, we install both solar systems and energy storage systems or batteries for your home, and all sorts of different energy efficiency products that you can find. I'm going to jump back into answering some questions as they pop up. Okay, see if I can go back over. Okay, where did that? You said okay. How much can you back up with a battery? Depending on the battery, each battery has both a maximum output that it can instantly back up, as well as a duration of time. So like a Tesla battery, just as an example, wherever it is, has a 13.5 kilowatt hours of storage inside of it. It also can run up to 5 kilowatts of consistent load. Most homes in San Diego County typically use less than 1 kilowatt hour per hour. So that just means that the average home can be backed up for at least half a day from a single battery. For larger homes, we'll want to design a system to tailor to suit your needs. The solar system and the battery work together. So after the battery is winding down, the solar system is going to come back on in the morning and recharge it and get you through any extended power outage. Do you design a system if I have big trees which shade my roof? So all systems are designed site specific. And so we would factor in any shading that is going to come from trees or chimneys or different sides of the roof. And we might opt to use a different side of the home, or at least just factor in how much shading those trees are going to do seasonally. You said your panels are from Panasonic or LG. Are they from the USA? Panasonic has a plant in Buffalo, New York, but the majority of these panels are manufactured either in South Korea or Japan. There are a few smaller mom and pop American-made companies. We used to be the largest Solar World installer over the years, but some of the bigger brand names like LG and Panasonic have sort of taken over the market. How big are batteries and where can I put them on my home? So a battery is roughly 3.5 feet by about 4.5 feet. There's one behind me here. Stand up for a point of reference. They're pretty narrow. They're only 6 inches in depth. They are NEMA 3R enclosure, so they can go both outside or inside a home, whether you want to have them in the garage or on the outside of your wall. Typically, we'll design them within about 10 feet of your electrical panel, but we have some flexibility just depending on your home's needs. Let's see, what else we got here? Again, this is my first Facebook Live, and thanks you guys for joining me. Do you sell Panasonic and LG, or are there other options? There are a lot of other options in the industry, from some of the larger Chinese manufacturers, or things like Q-Cells or Canadian Solar. Often they make sense in a commercial setting, but with roof space being limited today, and people having more and more electrified homes, typically the higher efficiency panels that you'll find from Panasonic and LG tend to make the most sense for most homes, just because we want to get every bit of power we can out of the amount of limited roof space that you have. Wait for a few more questions to come in. Will you cover my whole roof with solar panels? So there are some fire codes that dictate where we can install solar panels to make sure that there are access areas in the event of a fire. We'll design the system kind of just tailor suiting your needs, so the most efficient roof space. So it might not be covering the entire roof, but definitely in the prime real estate, south and west and other directions like that. Can I finance my system? Yes, there definitely are a lot of different financing options. Our customers tend to gravitate towards an ownership scenario, whether that is through an outright purchase or through financing the system from one of our local credit unions or different lending institutions that we have access to. Credit unions typically tend to have the best rates and more solar-friendly financing options, but there are a lot of options on the market today, so that you can essentially trade payments. If you have a SDG&E bill that is $300 a month, you're going to be able to finance that for less than your current electric bill. What are the benefits or not of those programs? Gotcha. Sorry. Do you offer leases or PPAs or power purchase agreements? In the past, we had offered leases and PPAs as an option. Typically, that was from the 2010 to 2015 sort of era, when there was still a lot of tax incentives for leasing companies. They typically didn't benefit homeowners as much long term, so most of Solari customers gravitated to owning their systems, whether that be through a traditional financing or through an outright purchase. The benefit to financing your system is that you're just not putting up all the money up front out of your system, and you can pay it off over 10, 12, 20 years or more, and that way there's no upfront out-of-pocket cost. Are solar panels a fire hazard? No, solar panels are not a fire hazard. They are run under the same NEC electrical codes that your home is wired under. Very strict guidelines in regards to installing solar systems for rapid shutdown and all sorts of other code compliances that California as a whole and the National Electrical Code has put in place to make sure these systems work for the long haul, but also protect your investment and your home. If I finance and paying monthly for solar, how does that save me money? So if you have currently a solar an annual electric bill, let's say it's $200 or $300 per month. At a minimum, customers typically see about 30% savings, and even larger the larger their bill is. So if they're going to be paying, $200 per month from SDG&E, if they're able to finance that solar system for $150, they're seeing a $600 per year annual savings. Once that system is paid off, typically 12 years is what we find most customers will finance for. You'll have a system that's warranted for 25. So you'll save quite a little, or quite a bit in the beginning, and even more as the system is yours and there are no more payments. How much it saves you each month will really be just depending on how much you're currently spending on your electric bill, and then what your roof dictates would be the best system to suit your needs. Won't I still have to pay SDG&E something? So currently, you would no longer pay SDG&E monthly. You get put onto a net metering account. Means that you're billed annually. You still will get a statement month to month that'll just tell you what your solar system and what your energy usage has done each month. So certain months you might overproduce pretty heavily, and then maybe in the summer months you might use a little bit more than you did produce due to air conditioning and things like that. And so what we're trying to do is design your system to offset, typically try to get to minimum service fees, which is $10 per month or $120 annually. That's typically the goal when we design a solar system for most homes. Can I add on panels later if I didn't get enough now? Yes, we can always look at your system and see what is your current energy needs. Often we'll find that homeowners will design a system to suit their needs 5 years ago. But their energy needs might have changed. Also, people start to use a little bit more energy when it's coming from a free renewable energy source. So yes, we can always add on panels in most circumstances to continue to offset your entire bill. It seems like the technology is quickly improving. If I install solar now, am I missing out on future technology? So it can seem like that. Technology in the solar industry is actually pretty old, to be frankly honest. We're still using the same solar technology that from the 1970s, with just small advances that help in both efficiency and longevity. So the major things that have changed has just been how robust the product was. That it's instead of losing 80% efficiency over time, we're losing less than 10% on the majority of panels in the industry. From an inverter standpoint, some of the inverters today are upwards of 97 to 99%. Typically, you might see an inverter get smaller, but they're already almost at their peak efficiency. So not some big leaps and bounds as far as the technology is concerned. Losing efficiency, what does that mean? So a panel will start to deteriorate or degrade as it ages. That just means if a panel is currently rated at 360 watts or 400 watts, that over time it will lose a small amount of its efficiency as it ages. The most recent panels from LG will lose 7.5%. So about 0.25% per year is what that comes out to. So less than 0.25% per year. So very, very strict performance guarantee from the big name manufacturers. When will there be roofing made for solar? So BIPV, building integrated photovoltaics, is something new we're seeing from some of the major manufacturers out there. It's still pretty new and pretty expensive. It's something that started in the past, but you're probably going to see it more and more coming out on new construction. Typically, if you already have a roof that does not need to be replaced, then a traditional solar panel will make the most sense for you. Also, they are not as efficient as the higher end solar panels today, so you can actually have a more efficient and less pricey system doing a traditional panel rather than a full solar shingle, if you will. How long will my solar system last me? So they're warranted for 25 years. Typically, the expected life of a solar system is closer to 30 or 40 years is the expected life of a panel, following that same degradation line as it ages. But 25 years is the guarantee, and anything after that is just icing on the cake. Okay, let's see. Do I need to get my whole system replaced or just parts? So I might be a little different in the industry, but for me, I'm if it's not broke, don't fix it type of guy. And so typically I will come back and design systems for homeowners who recently bought a home. It came with an older solar system, 10 or 15 years on it. I can see that system is still producing energy for them. So over time, if someone has enough roof space or space on the ground, we would just add solar to their existing equipment. Since it does have at least a 25-year warranty, you're going to add panels to your existing system, not replace, unless space was the space was a concern and you needed to fill it up with more high efficient panels. But typically, we're just going to add panels onto your existing system. See if we get a few more questions here. Will the design be aesthetically pleasing? So there are typically something we take into consideration with every homeowner. First, I will always design a system that is going to be the highest efficiency, right? It's going to be the best performing system and give you the best return on investment. The homeowners typically sometimes will have a different idea, maybe not wanting it on the front of their home. And so we would opt for a west facing over a south facing roof or something like that. All solar panels today, I'll actually show you a quick little model here. So can you pull that back down for me, Allie, real quick? So I can see it's on there. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Thank you, Allie. So solar panels today all come with a black anodized frame. Traditionally, when you'd see solar panels in the past, they might have had a silver frame. So black is now the new standard. Having a white or a solid black backsheet is the kind of differentiating factor between them. And so if you don't mind the look of that solar panel, which most people don't, that's typically what we would go with. There is a solid sort of jet black solar panel with a black frame and black backsheet. Sometimes people opt for that, even though they are a little bit more expensive, just because they find them more aesthetically pleasing. So we can design a system to suit whatever suits both your energy needs and is not going to lower the curb appeal for you. My HOA is really picky about solar. How will I convince them to approve it? So this is something the Solar Energy handles on your behalf. HOAs can have their preferences. They sometimes prefer they have an all black panel. They sometimes will request that it be recessed into the roof. Solar or HOAs can never stop you from getting solar. So you all will be able to get solar, and we'll just work with them to make sure that we follow the guidelines of each of your communities. And it says, I bought a house with solar on it already. How do I know if it's enough for me? If your system is currently offsetting all of your energy needs and you're getting just a small bill monthly, if you just moved in a month ago or you've been in there for a year now, you're going to get that true up bill annually, and you're also going to get a statement monthly, so we can assess if what it's doing with you based on your current energy load profile. Also, if you're just going to buy a home that has a solar system, we can see what that system was designed for. If it only has 10 or 20 panels on it, and you have a big family and this is a very large home, the system might have been designed for the last tenant, and we can size the system today to suit your sort of future needs. Can I get solar if I live in a townhouse or condo? Yes, you can get solar in some circumstances. It's typically dependent on whether you own your roof. Even if you don't own your roof, that the HOA sometimes can be solar friendly. Typically, it's if you are the owner of your roof, you can always get solar on your home, whether you're in a townhouse or condo. Let's see if we get a few more questions coming in. I appreciate all your guys' questions, and hopefully I'm answering the best that I can. Okay. Again, I'm Dustin Merkley with Solari Energy, and thanks for coming to this Q&A. I got a couple more questions coming in. Do I still pay a bill every month with solar? So no, you're going to be paying annually. So SDG&E will still send you a statement every month. This is just going to be the net effective of your bill, what happened in that statement period, meaning you either overproduced or underproduced for that month. So even if they show a bill is due of $50, they'll be on the last page saying, is a bill due at this time? And the answer is no. So we're not required to pay a bill from the day you get permission to operate your solar system until that same day next year when your true-up bill happens. You'll just get a statement every month, and after 12 months, there'll be a true-up or a summary of what happened each month of the year. So do you all handle everything from permits to HOAs for me? So Solari is all-inclusive, meaning our price always includes any permitting fee from the city or county. It has us doing all of that on your behalf. We will file the net metering applications with SDG&E, and we will do the application with your HOA. Since there are so many HOA jurisdictions in San Diego, we do not track the fees for each association. That would be something that you would handle on your behalf, but we will do all the applications to get it processed with your HOA. Is there still a limit to batteries if I have a large home? The question, there's no limit on the amount of batteries you can have. There are some requirements to get a state rebate to justify the amount of batteries you had. So the state has certain incentive levels based on how much energy you use at your home, what you're able to get. What happens if my SDG&E bill is higher than it should be? So if your SDG&E bill is higher than it should be, what we'll want to do is just make sure that your solar system is first producing what we designed it to. So as long as the system is producing, that stated output, we'll want to see what's going on with your usage. Energy usage can fluctuate month to month and year to year. And so especially this year, with people staying home and working from home a little bit more, we tend to see some higher energy bills. Most often than not, the solar system is still performing at its peak, and we can always add panels to offset additional usage if your usage has changed since you installed your solar system. We are always here, though, to help you analyze your energy. And so we have a service coordinator that can always jump online and look what your system is doing currently or over an annual basis to make sure you're getting everything we promised you. Okay, once you start installing, what does that look like? How long do I need to be out of the home? So a solar install, like I said previously, will take about 1 to 3 days, just kind of depending on the complexity. You can be home for the entire installation, or if you are working, you can be gone for the entire installation as well. The only part that needs to be in your home is when we hook it up to your wireless internet or your internet service so that you can monitor your solar system. If I have a flat roof, can you still, oops, that just cut out here. If I have a flat roof, can you still do solar on it? Yes, so there are a couple ways to install on a flat roof. Sometimes flat roof can mean a torch down roof or a gravel roof. We will install solar systems to match that roofing material. They can be either tilted or flat. Tilted panel will provide a little bit more efficiency, but sometimes there are height requirements for different jurisdictions, and so we'll just design the right system to suit each home's needs. Do you have smart technology? Where can I monitor my battery and solar together? So all solar systems have their own monitoring as well as battery systems. Oftentimes the battery monitoring integrates both solar and home consumption. This way you can track the performance of your solar system and what the battery is doing at that time. We have additional energy monitors that allow each homeowner to monitor each circuit individually. This sometimes can be a little bit more data than most homeowners are need to keep their eye on, but we have an option to fit sort of every homeowner's needs. Will you teach me how to use the monitoring, or do I have to figure it out on my own? So when we first install the solar system, your project manager is who is going to be processing your paperwork day to day and scheduling the installation crew to come out and install within your timeline. They will walk you through both how to monitor your system and help you get signed up online. And we'll show you how to set up like a Tesla Powerwall, for instance, and set up the different peak periods so we can adjust your battery back up to the right settings. And then if you have questions in the future with is my system performing, you can always reach out to myself personally or anybody here at Solarium. We can walk you through questions you might have regarding your monitoring. Do I need a special amp in my electrical box? So solar systems add a breaker inside the electrical box. How large your solar system can be is dependent on what size electrical panel you have at the house. So if you have a 100 amp solar panel, you're going to be able to put 20 amps of solar. If you have a 200 amp solar panel, or 200 amp electrical panel, you're going to be able to add 40 amps of solar. That's just going to be what size system your home can accommodate. There are lots of ways to work around this that we can design kind of site specific for your needs. How do you do proposals in the time of COVID? I don't want anyone to come over to my house. So today we've gone very efficient at designing systems remotely. If you're able to send us pictures of your electrical panel, we can typically design systems without ever needing to come to the home. Often homeowners do like us to come to the home, which is still an option as well. And so we can design the system from a satellite. We have very good tools today so that we can zoom in very close on your roof and see, within a few inches of what is the solar system that's going to fit on your home. And then use some general assumptions of what the age of the house and the electrical panel are. And then once we get a little further in, someone can send us pictures of their electrical panel to make sure that the system we designed will work. Also, I can always come out to your home and do a site visit to make sure that everything is going to be designed the way that we had all hoped. Okay, let's see if we get a few more questions here. Do I need to we've answered that one. A lot of times now with with battery systems, there have been a lot of different innovations in how we can install onto systems. So having just a small electrical panel is not, a job killer in most circumstances. We can always upgrade the electrical service. We can always typically find a situation to suit your needs. Oftentimes people have underground power lines, and we have to be pretty creative with how we can get the right system to suit your energy needs, even if you have an older electrical box or home. How often should I check my monitoring? So I like to check it monthly, personally. Some people who are very into their solar system check it daily. And realistically, if the system is producing everything it needs, you don't have to really monitor your system, but it is always a good point of reference to make sure that your system is continuing to offset your energy needs. It's also a good way to see if your energy needs have changed. If as long as the system is producing what it was designed to, you're going to be able to see if you started to consume more energy over time, whether that was from being home more, increased air conditioning, or maybe more and more people are getting an electric vehicle, which is pretty common today. See if we get a few more questions here. Thanks again, everybody, for joining the Facebook Live. It's been fun so far. Do you install EV plugs? Yes, we install both either manufacturer supplied EV plugs or NEMA 1450 plugs, which are pretty common, which can be used with most charging devices. A typical home will have a 110 electric outlet or a 240, which is a higher voltage charger. Typically, you can find one for a dryer. This is just a beefed up version of that that can run a Tesla car or any other manufacturer. How do I control how my battery works? So just like the monitoring device for your solar system will allow you to read what your home is or your energy system is producing, and you can run reports. Tesla has an app, and some of the other manufacturers have a different web-based or phone-based platforms. So you can set it up for being in backup mode only. You can change it around to be a time of use scenario. Most people today put their battery in a time of use with a reserve. So that means they're offsetting their day-to-day energy usage during the summer months between 4 and 9, and then they'll leave a reserve and backup for in case there's an unplanned power outage. What is the best setting? So like we just mentioned, oh, hi, Mom. So what is the best setting? So typically most people today are putting their system in a time of use scenario, and then leaving some in reserve for battery backup. See if we get a few more questions here. Thanks everybody for joining. You mentioned incentives. Will you make us aware of what is available? Sure. So for solar, there's still a 26% tax credit for the next couple of years. And for batteries or energy storage, there is both a federal tax credit as well as a SGIP, a self-generating incentive promotion rebate to offset batteries at this time or energy storage at this time. Do I produce solar even if it's cloudy? So solar panels work, during the day, during the rain, during the cloud. It's just how much energy do they produce. So they'll lose a little performance due to clouds or rain. But just like when people say you get the most burnt on a cloudy day, you often don't notice the intensity of the sun, but it is still producing pretty heavily. What about monitoring panel? Do I need to get computer? So for monitoring your system, do you need to get on a computer? Most companies today have app-based applications. More and more people are accessing the internet and their media through their phone rather than through a desktop or laptop. And so almost all solar systems today have an app-based version, so you can track your system and your battery on the go, get notified if there are power outages, and see just what's going on day to day from your mobile. What if there are fires and smoke? I don't quite understand that question, but if there are fires and smoke, call the fire department. From probably for the wildfires here. But let me see. What did you see, Alan? Do I produce solar if it's cloudy? Yep, we went over that. What about? So typically solar systems don't have any issues. If you're going to, with your home, they're pretty maintenance free for 25 years. Oh, fire. Okay, now thanks you for clarifying that. But what if there is fire and smoke, and how does that affect solar production? Thank you for clarifying. So, in regards to a fire, just like on a cloudy day or on a rainy day, your solar systems are still going to be producing energy. What happens in that case, though, is why more and more people are adding batteries to their home. With wildfires and some of the high wind advisories that are plaguing sort of our region, the grid is becoming less and less consistent for a lot of people. So being protected from a power outage, my mom, for instance, has a home in Alpine. Their home is on a well. So sometimes water is their lifeline. So having a solar system with a battery backup allows them to access their solar energy, whether the grid is up or down, and also have access to water during fires and things like that. Every little bit, like fire, or clouds, or rain, will affect the system's performance, but it will still be producing during those periods. So will monitoring notify me when there's a power outage? An energy storage system will notify you when there is a power outage, like a Tesla Powerwall, for instance. You will get a notification, and that's just so that you can keep track of what your energy usage is. So if customers have their EV car hooked up to their battery backup, they'll want to not charge their car during a power outage. You might want to curtail air conditioning usage or pool pumps and things like that are just not a necessity during a grid down event. Okay, what if I'm away from home and my battery is set to go on during a power outage? Can I turn it off remotely? So the Tesla app, for instance, just using that as a point of reference, is hooked up to your Apple or Android phone. And so if you want to control it remotely, you have full control of your system, whether you're at home or away. If you notice there is a power outage, you can set your system to be controlled from your phone. What other batteries do you guys offer? LG is a big other brand name, Enphase, Sonnen. They're all batteries that we have access to, and we can see what battery system suits your guys' needs best. Sometimes people's inverters were designed to work with a specific battery, or certain batteries are not dependent on what inverter they use. The Tesla battery, for instance, can be integrated with any existing solar system or designed from the get-go to work with it. But we have a lot of different batteries at our disposal, and we can just see what suits your guys' needs. Let's see if we have any more questions here. We got another few minutes left in our question and our Q&A here. If I want a Tesla battery, when can I install it? I believe they're asking. So Tesla is a pretty popular product. They became even more popular after the big wildfire event of last year, with a few production issues of COVID, like everybody had. The Tesla Powerwall product is back ordered about 6 months. So we expect Q3 to be our big shipment of Tesla Powerwalls, installing sometime then to Q3 or Q4 of this year. So it's always good to, if you're looking to add storage to an existing PV system, or design your current system with storage, that go ahead and get the process started today, since there's a little bit of a back order on batteries. Okay, guys, if that's about all, we'll wrap up this Q&A. I appreciate everybody's time. Thanks for joining me here, and I look forward to seeing you guys again in the next Facebook Live Q&A session. All right. Everybody have a good rest of your day, and stay sunny out there.